Chapter 61:33. At this moment, in Thompson's first-class villa, a family of four really enjoyed a sumptuous family dinner for the first time. Charlie and Claire never quarreled, but Jacob and Elaine often taunted and exchanged cold words at each other at the dinner table, making the atmosphere at the table always tense and awkward. But this time, the two of them did not utter even half a word from beginning to end. More importantly, they no longer disliked each other, and the atmosphere was quite harmonious. Elaine also changed her past domineering and arrogant behavior, and even frequently brought Jacob food to the dinner table, letting him eat this and try that, completely acting like a good wife and loving mother. As for Jacob, he had always looked down on Elaine in various ways in the past, and he would always lament in his heart that he was famous all his life. But it was a pity that a good man like him did not have a good wife. But now he has completely resigned himself to his fate. With such a bird like him, it's normal for Mai Ching to look down on him. And Elaine can still follow him wholeheartedly, which is already pretty good. Therefore, the look in his eyes when he looked at Elaine no longer contained the disgust and disdain that he could not hide in the past, but was instead a bit more gentle and touching. After dinner, Elaine, who was familiar with Jacob's habits, said before he even got up, "Claire, help Mom clean up the kitchen in a while. I will make a pot of tea for your dad first. He likes to drink tea after dinner." Claire was startled, and then said quickly, Okay, Mom, you don't need to take care of the dining table, I will clean it." Jacob, who was sitting on a chair, was stunned. Elaine personally making tea, how could this be a treatment he deserves? So, he quickly stood up and said, "Honey, please stop working so hard. I'll just make it myself later." Elaine couldn't help but say, "You just finished eating and sat down for a while before you got up. I'll make the tea for you and bring it to the coffee table in the living room and will call you." After saying that, she walked out of the kitchen. Jacob looked at her back and was almost moved to tears. He looked at Charlie in disbelief and then glanced at Elaine, who was walking out of the kitchen. His expression was probably asking Charlie if he was dreaming. Charlie was also amazed by what he saw. It seemed that his mother-in-law was really going to change her whole existence. While sighing, he quickly stood up and helped his wife clear the dining table. Claire hurriedly said, "Husband, Mom won't let Dad work, so don't reach out. Just sit down and rest for a while, and I'll take care of it." Charlie smiled and said, "You just came back from all the hard work. How can I just sit and watch you work?" Jacob on the side regained his composure and couldn't help but sigh. People say that everything is great when the family is harmonious. I didn't understand or feel it before, but now I really feel it. It's so damn good to have a harmonious home with no quarrels, bickering, internal strife, and standard refreshment. This kind of family atmosphere makes people smack their mouths outside. But when they return home, everyone is so happy that they couldn't stop talking from ear to ear. When Claire saw Elaine go out, she whispered with a serious face, "Dad, thanks to Charlie for helping you smooth things over today, otherwise if Mom knew that she was in the detention center at that time. You even went to the airport to pick up Aunt Han and brought them home for dinner. I am afraid thinking of the consequences." Jacob was so frightened that he trembled all over and looked outside the restaurant subconsciously. Seeing that Elaine had not come in, he lowered his voice. He said to Claire with a nervous voice, "Claire, for the sake of the harmony of our family, you must keep all those things in your stomach. The whole thing is the version that Charlie has said. Do you remember it?" Claire curled her lips and muttered, "For the sake of family harmony, I will definitely not tell Mom. But you have to know it in your heart and never do anything like that again in the future." Jacob nodded repeatedly and promised, "Don't worry, Dad will never do it again." Just as he finished speaking, the cell phone on the table suddenly rang. He lowered his head and saw that the caller was actually Irvin. He was a little surprised and muttered, "It's really surprising. This boy Irvin has been avoiding me for so long. Why did he take the initiative to call me today?" Charlie was also a little surprised. Normally, Irvin left the antique street to help Orville take care of the business on the street. and had no contact with his father-in-law. Why did he call him at this time? Although Jacob was confused, he still picked up the phone and pressed answer. On the other end of the phone, Irvin said respectfully, "President Wilson, it's me, Omao. Do you remember me?" "Nonsense," Jacob muttered with a curse. "We have dealt with each other so many times, and I still have to think if I remember you. I collected a lot of good things before. I called you more than 10,000 times, but couldn't get through. How come you have contacted me now?" Irvin smiled and said quickly, "No. To tell you the truth, President Wilson, I have quit playing antiques, and now I am working for Mr. Orville Hong. You must know him. He has a very good relationship with you." Jacob hummed, "Of course, a kind of friendship do I have with Mr. Orville. I had a meal in the diamond box of his restaurant 2 days ago." After that, Jacob said again, "Okay, Irvin, don't be so pretentious. You're being polite, just tell me if you have anything to do with me." Irvin said in a very attentive voice, "President Wilson, do you still remember Liang Yunju from the antique shop?" Upon hearing Liang Yun's name, the heart of Charlie sitting on the side moved. And Jacob suddenly felt his face burning as if he had been slapped. He immediately cursed and said, "Liang Yun? How could I not remember him? He caused some trouble in that shop at that time, and as I left, he asked people to catch me back, and even slapped me loudly. This grudge, I will never forget it in my life. If he hadn't been kicked out by the Song family, I would have avenged that insult for sure." Hearing what his father-in-law said, Charlie couldn't help but feel helpless.